this is Gordon, and Gordon lives here in La Mata with his wife May and their young child
Elijah.
Elijah. Yeah, I'm terrible with names because I know it's Eli for short. So, first question is, what made you decide to become an expat?
Well, I was recommended by a man I met on holiday to go to Asia. He said that there's lots of sights to be seen if you like travelling. I was already on holiday at that time. He said if you like to travel by yourself, you can go to Asia and experience that place. So yeah, I went over there, really enjoyed it. Had Typhoon Haiyan in 2013, which wasn't the best. After a while, because of the medical facilities in the Philippines regarding the child, we moved back to the UK. But of course, as you've experienced yourself, the immigration issues in the UK aren't the best. So we looked into the Surinder Singh program, which you've talked about, the route, and we came down here to Spain, where we've been happily for just over 6 months now. So yeah,
That sounds good. How are you finding Spain? Well,
it's quite interesting. It's sort of like where east meets west. Really, you've got an interesting blend of what we encountered in what I encountered in the Philippines, which was a very family orientated, very quite traditional, sort of quite religious culture. I mean, the Spanish transplanted all that over to the Philippines in the centuries gone by, and it's interesting to see elements of that present here as well as westernized elements. So yeah, it really is like a mashup. Yeah, we both like it, mate and myself. Yeah.
how does it compare to the UK, the lifestyle?
I'd say that the lifestyle here is much more laid back. You don't feel under pressure all the time. You don't feel like you're on the clock. You don't really begrudge your employer or anything like that so much, because really the whole sort of stress element is much reduced. And a lot of people here, like I say, that the friendliness of Spain is really in evidence. You know, I mean, when you sort of encounter just people on the street, they're very sort of hello. Some of them are quite hands-on as well, which you don't get in the UK. You know, some of them are like pat on the back and
It feels a bit awkward sometimes. People try to, you're not sure.
It does, because that's unless you already know the person, that's really uncommon in the UK. So being here, you can see the people here are lively. I say very laid back, and again, the stuff like the food and just the general culture. That again is something lovely to behold, so yeah, we really enjoy it here.
Oh yeah, that's great. Another question: what would you say the job prospects were for a native English speaker in, well, let's just say Alicante area?
The job prospects, if you wanted to work locally, are not very good, unless, this is a big unless you're thinking of going out on your own, maybe starting a business, maybe working online as well, trying to drum up your own little trade, your own little niche. I mean, speaking for myself, I work online and do various websites and writing for those websites. That's the bulk of my employment. But other people, again, we've heard lots of little things. They set up estate agents, they've got cleaning businesses, sort of home help, you know, things like that. There's a lot of elderly around here. That's a huge and generally, in a lot of parts, untapped sort of market to look at. You know, there's lots of stuff, but you need to be imaginative. You cannot just expect to hand in your CV and get a call back, because conventional employment is weak. But self-employment, generally speaking, that's the way to go. So
yeah, because I was going to say there seems to be half the builders of the UK that live here.
Well, we've encountered handymen from the UK and Ireland. They get a much better deal here. I mean, working wise, in terms of if you are employed, your rights are a bit stronger in some elements than they are in the UK. So yeah, we get a lot of people, skilled people won't have too much of an issue. That's another important thing. If you've got a skill, such as sort of maintenance work and so on, there are a lot of houses around here that always need a bit of stuff doing to them. Again, you're not going to be short of work on if you look for it and if you're a bit imaginative.
Yeah, because I would say that, I mean, the property rentals here are huge, the market, so I say there's a lot of potential just managing properties for other people, even if it's running around every couple of years changing air conditioning units. There's just so many properties here. Because I'd say the population of the matter that's actually here all year round that isn't tourists is probably about 20%, would you say?
I'd probably put it a little bit higher than that, although it's difficult to gauge it exactly. I mean, you cannot really strike kind of a precise number, because some people, when they do come back, they come for months. Some of them will just come for weeks, so it's hard to know when the population peaks and when it sort of troughs. I mean, right now you've still got a few holiday makers in here. Even right now, late October, you're getting that. But I'd probably put the number about 30 to 40% is the native population. A lot of these people are retirees who rent out their places in the summer and live here right the way through to sort of April and May. So 3-4 months of the year they've got a little sideline themselves in addition to the pensions, and then the rest of the time they're back here themselves. So that's a common thing.
I think the pensions are quite low for the Spanish, aren't they? For the retirement. Yeah,
I did a little bit of research on that. I think just the basic state pension, if they paid into the Social Security, I think it's between 4,000 and 5,000 euros, something like that. I mean, a lot of pensioners will have additional pension and some other work, and a lot of them will own their own homes, which was encouraged in the past. I mean, Spain traditionally has been a very home-owning society. Rentals are still, in 2015, they're still pretty novel as a form of occupation for a dwelling. Yeah.
Have you found any downsides for the life in Spain?
Not personally, although I could see why other people would think that certain things were downsides. I mean, out here on the coast, there is, in the winter, there isn't too much to do, and we've heard that sort of complaint that it becomes very quiet, and there is like a music house in the town, but there's not really a cinema or a theatre. A lot of the bigger concert halls, a lot of sort of the bigger amenities are missing from this particular region. You've got to drive 20, 30, 40 miles up the coast to Alicante or elsewhere to get those. So yeah, that side is a bit of a downside. But everything else really, it's quite good. I mean. The cost of living is a big upside. I mean, a lot of people who are older will fuss over this as well, because you see like the brands from the UK in the supermarkets. You know, the Coleman's mustard, the Warburton's loaves. You know, people are obsessed on those, even though, in terms of what they contain nutritionally, this stuff is really bad for you. A lot of people are so fixed on older people; they've had it for decades, so not accessing those easily can be a downside. But for us, a younger generation, we're not so choosy. That's no bother. So for me personally, there's not a bother, but for others, things could be.
So how are you finding the food? Do you try a lot of the Spanish stuff? Or?
Oh yeah. Well, we cook various. We do try like paella. Chicken sort of dishes and things like that. Just, I mean, a lot of the Spanish food, it's I don't know, it's sort of made for people in groups. I mean, even the baguette, you know, when you buy a baguette, it's implicit that you're going to share it through the day. You're not going to have it all to yourself, because in 24 hours it's not going to be so good. So, yeah, the food and the social life, that is really good. I mean, we like to eat out. There are a couple of bars around here, and there's a Chinese restaurant further out that does a whole really good variety of cuisine. So yeah, the food is really lovely. Yeah, and it's healthy as well. We don't find, again, walking around Mercadona, you don't find processed stuff over there.
No, I've got to admit that myself. It's very.
There's only a little freezer in the middle of it. In the UK, there are aisles of just frozen stuff upon frozen stuff. Here, you just get a few pizzas in a freezer and a bit of ready meal, and then the rest of it is fresh produce. So yeah, right there, even in the shops, you can see the contrast. People here, and again, the obesity rates are much lower in Spain. People here reject the kind of processed stuff. They love fresh, they love healthy, the Mediterranean diet, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, I was bumped into somebody this morning. He actually drives trucks of broccoli to the UK every week. That's what he does when he's in season. Because that's the crazy thing. I mean, there's so much fresh food here, but we don't really get the same sort of thing in the UK. It seems to be, like you're saying, it's gone frozen and tinned route.
Yeah,
I think Spain has managed to retain some of that real food.
Absolutely.
And obviously, me having a severe passion for food, it suits me here.
Yeah.
How do you find driving around? Because I say driving around, you don't actually drive. So how do you find transportation?
The transport links are pretty good in our locality. I mean, again, we're looking at the Torrevieja, La Mata area. You've got a good public bus system. You can, in the summer, the buses are frequent. Every 10-20 minutes you'll get one. Now in winter you're looking at every hour or so you'll find one. But that's not too bad. You can just time when you leave the house. We've got a bus stop 3-4 minute walk from here. So that's pretty good. And also the long distance travel as well. Coaches are your only route from here. But if you prefer the train, you can get a short coach journey up the coast, and then, I mean, Cartagena's got a train station, so you can travel by train then. So public transport, yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, like I say, if we ever did need to travel by car as well, you've got taxi service, there's plenty of cabs, it's quite competitive and the cost is reasonable. It's probably about, well, in pounds you'd be looking at £5 or £6, so sort of 8 to 10 euros get you to the shop and arcade, the Carrefour, local big shop, and the mall. So yeah, the transport options are good.
Yeah.
They're pretty decent.
Yeah, because I know myself, because I do a bit of cycling around here. There's a lot of cycle paths, isn't there? You know, there's a lot of trails to ride around on.
Oh, yeah, along the motorway, you've got the sort of perpendicular to the road itself. You've got the bike track, the little red thing, and you can ride for miles up there.
Well,
we see the odd person doing
yeah,
that.
they go for miles, because I know myself. I did the big lake. It was about 20 kilometres all the way around it. But the fact is, the roads is so accessible with those cycle paths. So I think, even if people don't drive here, there's a lot of opportunities to find other modes of transport.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely.
One of the things I have heard people get confused on, though, is with the buses, there's different colours. I haven't actually seen what this is, but I know some people say, well, there's a green route, a red route, and
yeah, that's the difference. Rather than have numeric buses, like in the UK, you'll have like the number 10, you'll have the number 18, you'll have the number 60. You'll have different buses that go around your city, and you'll get to know those things, and that's what you're acclimatised to. Around here, you get the letter A through, I think it's G. So you've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and yeah, they do use coloured lines to indicate the routes, but the buses themselves are the same.
Right.
They're sort of made to standard. They're not very green. Put it that way. They're a bit dirty at the back, but they have aircon, so you've got that comfort element. and they're quite spacious, so that's another plus. But yeah, you've got to sort of change your, again, it's a little
It's
bit
cultural, isn't it?
yeah, cultural, yeah. You've got to change from the numbers to the letters, and then once you're comfortable, then you can enjoy travelling around, no problem really. So.
Yeah, because I know somebody was all about the buses for going to the airport, and somebody gave up on it when they mentioned colours, because they assumed there was completely different businesses and things like, you know, different buses on different routes, and they didn't really understand what it was actually meaning. So it's good for you to explain that.
Well, with the airport routes, it's more just coaches, which is essentially the same as what you get like National Express in the UK. You've got the destination name, and then you can just go to the sort of the station attendant or the desk or whatever, ticket office, and say, I'd like a coach to Cartagena, Bilbao, Madrid, Alicante airport, and then he'll give you a ticket there, and they usually have a basic grasp of English. So really getting a coach long distance travel, airport or further afield, that's more similar, much more similar to how it is in the UK.
How do the prices compare? 'Cause I know you went to Cartagena recently. How was the price from La Mata, or it'd be Torrevieja, to Cartagena? Because that's quite a fair distance, isn't it? So.
Oh, it's cheap as chips. Going to Cartagena, it was something like €4.50 each, or something like that. It was less than €5 each.
Is that return or each way?
That's each way.
Right.
But both ways you're looking at about, what was it, €9, something like that, or €9 and some pennies on top. So that works out about £6.50 to £7, and that's a pretty long distance journey. It's a more than 2 hour trip. The airport coach is a little bit more expensive because they know that people are gonna be getting flights, you know, so that they can. They
also the expectation, the extra baggage and the hassles to go with it.
That's right. Yeah, the time issue. Yeah, I mean that's about €6.90 to the airport from Torrevieja train station, coach station, and that's again it's roughly an hour's journey. But again, very cheap. I mean, that's about £5. So yeah, that's a reasonable deal, really, each way. The alternative is, of course, a taxi transfer, which can be anywhere from 50 to 60, or if you know someone, it's usually around 40. So, like I say, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been in a taxi before with a friend of mine, because we both arranged to get picked up, and then he said he'd organised transport, so I cancelled mine. And then when we got there, the guy hadn't turned up for him. So we ended up getting a taxi, and they bumped it up on the Sunday rates. So you have to be very careful with the taxi, be aware what rates they're running. Because if they know you're a tourist, like anywhere in the world, they'll look for an opportunity. Thanks for that, Gordon. Is there anything you want to add? You'd like to add for anybody that's watching?
Really, I'd say that, as with anywhere, Spain, although it's, you know, you don't make a snap judgment before you head out. If I could give you one little piece of advice, if you're considering coming here, I'd say try and get like a short-term rent in an area that you'd assume would be near enough ideal for you, and just live out here for sort of 3 to 6 months. You can get 3-month leases, and easily you'll get a 6-month lease. So try before you buy, or try before you stay, as it were. That would be the big advice, the one big point that I'd give to our viewers. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's important, even if you're buying property, because some of the areas, like where I live in La Mata, it's like a ghost town in the winter, but I'm happy like that. But other times, peak season, some places can be a nightmare. They could become a bit of a mini Benidorm. So it is worth, if you're buying somewhere, try and rent somewhere close to the property you're looking at. There's plenty of time to buy. There's no rush on the purchases. That's one thing I will say about Spain, is there's plenty of buildings around for sale. There's no shortage of buildings for sale.
No, and again, never let yourself be sort of coerced or or cajoled into committing yourself earlier than you'd like to. A lot of the estate agents are very good at conveying a false sense of urgency. So just take your time. Remember that there's no hurry because the Spanish property market's essentially going nowhere, no matter what they say. So really, just take it easy. Take a leaf out of Spain's book and just take it easy, relax. Stay here for a little while. If you really like it, extend your lease or look at buying a place. So yeah, that's the big advice that I give here.
Alright, cheers for that, Gordon. I'm going to go off for the school run now. So
No trouble.
thanks for that.
Yeah,
Right.
no problem.